we do have a lot to get into tonight on State of Louisville Live. Jacob Lane, Portal Press Meyer. The Portal, he turned the light off, but if you see over Press's right shoulder, is that your
The
right shoulder?
portal.
Yeah, that's your right shoulder. That light was on before we started the show. And that light was the official transfer portal. So
The
Milan
portal has
Momcilovic
closed.
just officially hopped into that and landed in Lexington. And now the portal's closed. So some are saying he's hurt. He's, that whatever, down in Lexington, just doing his thing. I don't know. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about that commitment tonight, Louisville's biggest miss of the offseason. There's been a couple, in the transfer portal season. There's always going to be a couple of misses. You can't hit 100% of the shots that you take or 100% of the shots that you don't take. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott, Michael Jordan. So we're going to discuss that. We want you to get in on the commentary. Join us over on YouTube if you want to get involved in the show at the State of Lou. You can watch on Twitter if that's your thing. If you're more of a Big Brother, silent type, or you just want to watch from above without interacting and just judge us for our takes, that's fair too. All are welcome. However you wish to watch. We're going to get into Louisville's miss on Milan Momcilovic. I don't know why I just struggled there to get that sentence out, but we're going to talk about that, what it means for Louisville basketball moving into 2026, 2027. We did get the official roster announcement. All right, the typing, Ryan, we have discovered your microphone is too close for the typing, so you might have to move the keyboard while you're doing the show. Maybe put it in your lap if it reaches to your lap there. We were late tonight trying to help Ryan get his microphone set up, and as you can hear, it's going. Some are saying it's going. Not great, but it's going. So we'll get into that as well, Ryan.
We're working on it. We're working on
Yeah.
it. I've been trying to get the ideal audio set up for a while. I've been using my PS5 headphones, and Presley said I sounded like I was gaming, and I was like, oh, that's probably
Yeah, you
because
did.
I'm
You did
using
sound like
my-
you were about to tell a 12-year-old you're going to beat him up or beat his mom up, or your mom was going to beat his mom up.
Like I was about to just
that's what
start
it
talking
sounded
some serious smack to you guys, and like bubs in the mid. You guys ever say that when you played Halo 3? You threw the bubble out, and everybody got underneath of it and was like trying to stay.
Yeah,
Bubs in the
like
mid.
bubs in the mid. We
That's
said-
also
mid, dude.
coincidentally what I say, whenever my redneck stepbrother, I don't know. That was a bad joke. There was something there. I don't know.
You were getting there.
There's-
You were getting there.
Whenever
we're
whatever.
crushing it tonight, guys.
First
We're
5
killing
minutes
it.
doesn't
We're
matter
killing it.
anyways.
Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah.
fine.
That's
This is like the first game in bowling,
Yeah,
unless you're in a
it's the-
hurry.
That's true.
This is the
Everybody's
pre-show.
got to warm up in bowling.
That's right. That's right.
We're having a little bit of a
less to
rusty
talk about.
intro, but that's okay.
Again, it doesn't matter. The first 5 minutes are a throwaway, except for the folks that have tuned in. Hopefully, you are.
We are not
entertained
throwing
here as
you
we-
away, folks.
we will never throw you away. But things are certainly moving for Louisville basketball. Roster announced today. I was more interested in what numbers the players were going to be. I don't know if you all are like me in that regard versus just who's going to be announced.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that. We'll get into a little roster construction. Are they done? Talk. And then who knows what we'll fill the gaps in here with. Maybe some I-65 closure talk and, a little traffic. I'll get my traffic news going here. We can discuss what that's been like.
Anything
Glad
that
I'm
Jacob
her,
and
not
Brett-
there.
That's right. Yeah, right. Exactly, dude. You're
All
you
that
are-
traffic.
Yeah, that's exactly right, man.
Oh.
It makes me want to slap the city, dude. Like, what are we doing, man? It's just ridiculous that we're closing down the highway in the middle of the summer. But anyways, I
Ryan's been
digress.
pissed about it.
Presley, let's get a baby check. What checking in on baby Mac here as you and your wife are getting into the middle to closing stretches here of delivering that child into the world, that precious baby boy into the world. How's he doing? What's the size of the baby right now? Do you have one of those apps that tells you that? Is it
Yeah.
strawberry?
Well, first of all, just to clarify, that was a weird way of saying that. No, like I'm saying that was a weird way of saying that I'm having a child, I guess is what I was
You are
going
having a
for.
child.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But
Congrats on the sex.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just shout out to me. I got my wife pregnant.
You are asexual. You are actually pregnant. You impregnated yourself, and you're going to deliver your own child. That's actually what's happening here.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Now I think we're about 4 months along. We were the world's best boss cup. That was the size last
Okay.
week, was
Yeah.
the Michael Scott's World's Best Boss mug.
Yeah.
I don't know who came up with that, but I did not enjoy it. So
Yeah. He's in the womb with his arm just like this. No, just to make sure for the sake of,
yeah.
of scale, just
Also,
like a coffee mug.
the fruit for this week, I think, was a banana,
A
which just
banana.
seems
Okay.
like, I don't know.
Show the
The rest
fans
of them are like,
how meta you're getting with your crib in your crib right now.
I mean,
I know,
yeah.
yeah. Well, that's me. They've always called me the Meta King. So, but no, but everything's good. The baby's healthy, wife's healthy. We're all happy. It's all good.
Yeah,
It's all
I love
kosher.
that, man. I absolutely love that. Congrats to you on the baby. We can't wait to eventually do a podcast with that baby in the crib back there, and you have to do a little dad, little basketball talk,
Nothing will
little hybrid.
change at all.
Yeah, right. It's just we'll be podcasting with the baby in the crib. That's it.
This is
Well, let's
Matt's
talk a
bedtime
Louisville.
story.
That's right. Let's talk a little bit of Louisville basketball. That is what we're here to do on State of Louisville Live. I am Jacob Lane, Presley Meyer, and Ryan Keeling here tonight. We got a lot to talk about. We want you over in on the YouTubes so we can get the chat going over there. So jump in at the State of Lou. Follow us on Twitter. If you've probably already done that. If you're watching this, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. All of that. Tonight, let's talk about the big news. The elephant in the room is certainly the recruitment of the lone star in the transfer portal, easily the top player remaining. And we knew going into the offseason that, and you really do every year at this point with this, that the NBA draft is going to play a role for a handful of transfers. You have, no offense to Gabe Dines, right? But Gabe Dines was in the NBA draft. None of us thought that Gabe Dines was going to be declaring and staying in the draft. Maybe he would have. Maybe who knows what a 7'5" center can get in the draft, right? But a lot of guys go in, they get feedback with the intention of going back, and you know what their intentions are. But then you have that group of players that go all the way down to the wire, and this year more than ever, that was amplified because you had so many players that prior to the deadline did not declare for the draft. They chose to come back to college. You had a lot of guys that were in the draft that you knew would go back, like, despite all the talk we did on the last episode with Flory Bidunga. I'm never confident. I don't know. I just,
Bidunga.
You had my
just
wife
wanna,
saying Badinga the other day.
yeah,
Bidunga.
that's right.
She was like, "What's that
I'm
guy's name? Badinga?" I was like, "Nah, you've been
Badinga
listening
Army
to
over
Jacob
here.
too much."
right, exactly. Never trust me to lead you to the direction of the pronunciation of someone's name correctly. But you knew Flory was coming back. But with some of the guys that went down to the wire, whether they be in the portal or not, the biggest that we were kind of watching here locally was Milan Momcilovic. And the reason for that is, without question, the top shooter, one of the top players in the portal, regardless of that, was a all Big 12 player, was fantastic for a top 5, top 10 Iowa State team all year, shot an insane percentage from three, like 48-49% on 6 or 7 attempts per game. And for Louisville, we talked about this on the last episode we did, that at least in my perspective, I thought Louisville was missing a go-to scorer. Now, whether that's a guy who has the ball in his hands or who doesn't have the ball in his hands is subjective to however you want to look at the way the team is constructed. For me, I was saying that there was a void in somebody that can shot create. Now, Milan Momcilovic is a great shooter, does a lot of things for you. I wouldn't necessarily say that he fits that, but he does some of that with an insane amount of shooting. And so one reasonably could say, well, dude, look, the Louisville doesn't have that knock-dead shooter that Pat Kelsey really relied upon. This is the guy. He checks all those boxes. And that's exactly why Louisville was going all in on recruiting Momcilovic. You heard kind of murmurings of it leading through the middle portions of the combine up until the end, but it never really felt real until it did. And then all of a sudden, Louisville was in this 3-horse, 4-horse race with some of the top programs in the country with dollars left to spend, after we thought maybe Louisville doesn't have the funds to go out and get another premier player. Maybe they just need to fill the roster. No, Louisville was out and ready to make a big offer, and they went all in on a player that they thought could help put them over the edge. And ultimately, it didn't come out in the cards for Pat Kelsey. And you look at what UK offers, and we're going to certainly break this down here in a second, but it looks more in favor of what I think that Momcilovic was looking for. You know, he talked about wanting to play for a contender, but I think at the end of the day, he wanted to be the guy, the highest paid guy, wanted to come back and really be able to put his stamp on something. And with Louisville, you know, more so than Kentucky, they already had a lot of those pieces in play. And I think Kentucky had that to offer to him. And so, Presley, I come to you and I ask you, one, how big of a deal is it that Louisville did not land Milan Momcilovic for next season? And two, do you think ultimately Kentucky, you know, and this is not a Kentucky pod, so I don't really care to break down Kentucky's roster, but do you think ultimately this was a matter of bigger bag, better situation? What do you think ultimately, based off of the stuff that you've been kind of digging into, that it came down to?
Yeah, I mean, I'll answer the second thing first because I've already forgotten the first thing.
Good job.
Thank you.
I think I did too, actually. I think, what did I ask you? How big of a deal is it that Louisville missed him? I think that's it. How big of a deal is that Louisville missed? So either one.
No, I mean, as far as as far as Momcilovic goes, I do feel like, yeah, I mean, you're silly if you don't say that money was a factor, right? You're
right.
It's an asinine statement, and everybody that's come out and said, I've listened to multiple radio interviews today with I heard CL Brown on this morning, and I heard the big recruiting guy. Doesn't matter. There's a big recruiting name on the radio.
Yeah,
earlier.
Big recruiting guy. You know, I follow him on Twitter.
Oh gosh, Joe Tipton,
Truly Donovan,
Billy Donovan. Yeah. Multiple sources on the radio, I guess. Folks saying, "Oh well, no. I mean, if you know Milan, you know that money wasn't a factor. You know, this is a guy that wants to do things the right way. He's got a great family, and the things that everybody says to, beef up their profile a little bit. And look, I mean, nobody is denying getting Milan Momcilovic would absolutely, be bananagrams, right? Like that would make Louisville an instant Final Four favorite, right? Like that would catapult you into the 1 seed category if you're looking at the rest of the rosters being assembled around the country. With all that in mind, I try to contextualize it for a normal person, right? And just for a nice round number, I know the state where the average income is the highest is $100,000. That's Colorado, right? If you live in the state of Colorado and let's say you're just average there, you make $100,000. How many years does it take say it's $5 to $7 million, right? That's a $2 million difference in what Kentucky offered versus Louisville. How many years would it take making $100,000 a year before taxes to earn $2 million? What, 30 years, right?
Ask the engineer here. You lost me. I don't know. I have no clue.
If you made $100,000 every year, how many years would it take to get to $2 million? It's what, 20 years, right?
I don't know.
No, 24 years.
Yeah.
Right?
I was going to say 12. So, yes, you just doubled exactly. Yeah. So,
yeah.
I think we're close. We're close. This isn't a math podcast. This
This
isn't the math of Louisville. Nobody cares.
Either way, clearly we're too dumb to ever be in this place in the first place, Jacob. But anyways.
Yeah. Ryan, unmute your mic.
Yeah, how would you like 20 years of salary, I guess, is
go.
what I'm getting to, Jacob.
Yes. Ryan, what's the answer? Do you know?
I did not. So what? You said 20. It was like.
What is happening?
You said $10 a year. It doesn't matter.
Look, you said engineer, and like I kind of tuned out because like I do this to get away from that. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
But
he couldn't engineer a different.
Whatever. You said $200,000. $200,000
Which
for.
one, Presley? Was it a 200?
If you made $100,000 a year, how many years would it take you to
make
$2 million?
It's just $1 million divided by 100,000.
We're really doing this this is bad. I think we're gonna. The number just went from 100,000
20 years
people to 5 people. 20 years.
Yeah.
It's 10. If you make $100,000 a year for 10 years, you need to have $1 million.
Okay. This isn't a math Q&A. What are we doing here? What's the point? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I'm just saying, try to contextualize how much money $2 million is. People act like it's not a big deal. This dude is what, 22 years old, Of course,
Yes.
it's a massive decision, and money is a massive factor. And for anybody to say, "Oh, well, he'll make that money," you have no idea what's going to happen down the line. He could, put a uniform on for the first time at Kentucky and step onto the court, and a floorboard breaks and whacks him in the head, and he can never play again. Like, come on. Like, I know that's a silly comparison to make, but you never know what's going to happen. Freaking take the money. It's a ridiculous statement to make, to say, "Oh, it played no factor." And so I guess that's.
I can't believe they said that. So it was Joe Tipton and C.L. Brown. Those guys were.
Yeah, and I don't think CL was like, it wasn't in any way. Yeah, but they absolutely just kind of scoffed at the fact that it would even be about money, but especially the national media guy that I was.
I mean, the challenge is that like we don't know any numbers, obviously.
No,
but the difference between what Louisville was offering and what Kentucky was offering, like both fan bases have come to an agreement. Everyone is willing to acknowledge that Kentucky's offer was higher. Like everyone is almost unanimous about that. And so like
Right. I mean, dude, at this point, that an $8 million, $6 million offer, whatever it is, he got the goose and the juice at this point. I mean, he got everything. Like he got the whole bag from UK, and you cannot blame a guy for wanting to go and make the type of money that a top 10 pick in the NBA would make. I mean, that's the thing here is, I think if anything, we should all be applauding Momcilovic and his approach, because if you're a fringe first to second round pick and you somehow manage to finagle $6 million from a university for 1 year, you're doing it right. That's okay. Delay your NBA your NBA journey for 1 year, go to UK, hope it doesn't absolutely blow up in your face, but if it did, you just walked away with $6 million and you're probably good for a long time. So at the end of the day, I think, when it comes to the money stuff, you're exactly right, Press. Like, you cannot blame an athlete for wanting to capitalize, and you cannot blame an athlete for a university that's willing to pay him whatever the market is worth that they say it is worth. And if it's that much money, then so be it. And look, I'm not coping here, so don't take this for what I'm about to say as a coping mechanism, but for Kentucky, they had to have a guy like that. For Louisville, it was certainly like that will put you over the top. But I mean, this doesn't make or break the season for Louisville the way that I think it does for UK. And maybe that's coping. If someone want to say it is, sure. But I think at the end of the day, Louisville was not needing to get up to pay that amount of money and sacrifice whatever the case is, more money for this year, future years, whatever. And if he was willing to come here at the amount that you had, which it sounds like maybe he was, so be it. That's great. Let's get him in here and let's make it work. But if not, no sweat off our back. Certainly would have loved to have had him, and it would have made a big difference. I'm not going to say that it would not have, but I don't think it's necessarily a breaking point for Louisville basketball before the season started, whereas this UK roster lacked any sort of star power at all, and he gives them exactly that. I mean, I think that's, at the end of the day, they paid for what they needed, which was star power.
Yeah, just wanted to add some clarity. So that was Travis Branham. Believe it was on with Andy Sweeney this afternoon. And I have heard, just that. I apologize for being so all over the place. We got kids and all that stuff going on.
What's a kid? I don't know what that is.
A baby goat.
I don't know.
My father taught me my father taught me fuck them kids. That's what my father taught me when he left at 4 years old.
Father Shannon Sharp?
No, I'm kidding. Anyways, go on.
Oh, wait, no, was that Michael Jordan? Close enough.
No, Michael Jordan's dad was murdered. I don't know. Michael Jordan had a great
I was
father,
talking
right?
about the fuck them and kids comment.
Oh, no, who did have that?
Oh yeah, that wasn't
I thought, I don't think that was
a Michael Jordan.
But anyways,
thing.
I don't know
for
who
Kentucky,
was.
I mean, the fan base, this was the recruitment just you saw it play out, like just desperation, right? This is like needing a 90-yard touchdown with 30 seconds on the clock, like needing that's the type of desperation that this UK fan base and really the program had. I mean, look, let's not forget that just a few weeks ago, their head coach was literally taking questions on Twitter because everyone was so angry that they were missing on player X, Y, and Z left and right. They certainly have built a fine roster. Like, I'm not going to downplay. I think they have some good pieces, but it is not what their fan base was used to. And so for this, like, I mean, it had this fan base outside tweaking. Like, I mean, like, there's no way they're walking out of this without some form of a W, without before a second the ball was even rolled out saying that it was over. Like, their fan base was on the verge of year 2 Kenny Payne, where we were, like, straight up, just completely disregarding the results of the season because they declared it over before it started. This gives the fan base hope, the opportunity to think that they're going to be a top 10, 15 team because of the star power. And whether that is the case, we'll see. I certainly don't think their roster is good as Louisville, even with Milan, like, not even, in my opinion, close. Maybe that's homerism in me. I don't know. But for Louisville, I would have loved to have had a guy that can shoot like that. I mean, if you do look at the offseason and you look at not landing oh man, I'm blanking on his name now, but the Brett Decker from Liberty, and then going all in on a couple of other, high 40% 3-point shooters. Louisville certainly was after a marksman in the offseason, and one could say that was their biggest miss. They did not land that, and
Not
this
a
included
marksman.
with that. No
Yeah.
marksmen. I don't even know if they have a marksman at this point. I mean, they've got some good
Mark
pieces.
doesn't
but
have
no,
any men. No.
Isaac Ellis. I mean, maybe that's your best 3-point shooter on this team going into next season. I mean, seriously. I mean, think about that. You know,
I'm here to put the doubt on the shooting to rest. I've done my homework. When we get to talking about it, we're gonna put some of this.
let's get to talking about it now.
This
Well, I mean,
doubt down.
Let's delay in
talk about
talking
it.
about it because I think you can kind of interweave the Milan conversation.
That's
the
fair.
3-point conversation, like what you
I
got?
mean, I think that's the clear that's the clear ad that this guy brings, and going after Momcilovic was 100% a play for that shooter, that knockdown shooter that spreads out the offense like PK likes, that everybody has to guard at the perimeter because he can, like he did last season, hit close to 50% on a really high volume. If you go back and look at his highlight, I mean, it is all just shooting. I mean, that is it. Like, the dude, and he's really good at it, right? Like, I'm not willing to. I mean, obviously, we're not going to have a guy on our team this year that shoots 50% from 3. You're not going to have that.
Watch it be like Obi, just like shoot 5 threes or 6
He's
threes.
out there just draining.
3 of them.
It's like stretch 4, the 7-footer.
I heard that guy with the podcast uniform said that I wasn't going to shoot threes. Put your microphone to 11:30, bitch.
This is the same hoodie from every pod we've done.
The weekly listeners know. He's like, oh, he's wearing the same thing again? That's great.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Kidding.
But no, I'm when I was going down and when I was breaking down film last night, I put together that little hype video. Shelstad has serious range. I'm telling you, oh God, Sean's roasting my.
Yeah,
It's this mic.
Sean,
it's this mic,
it's the
man.
mic, man. It's the microphone. We tried.
I-
It's partially my fault. I've owed him a microphone for a couple of weeks now. You do need some water. I do think.
Do you think I need some more? I mean,
You need some water. You need a little moisture. There you go. Let's see.
All right, clear my throat. Every single play that Shelstad had in his highlight reel was a deep shot too. I mean, or he had a lot of getting to the rim too. But I was really surprised by his range. I think there was a lot of shots he was pulling up from deep, and
Yeah.
I think part of like his regression in shooting last year probably was his injury, his hand. I think that played a big role.
For sure. They
we've-
weren't as
we've
good of
seen-
a basketball team last year from the get-go. I mean, he was never meant to be the best player on a team, just like Peyton Siva wasn't meant to be the best player on a team. He can be a very good supportive 2 or 3, but cannot be your best player. Like, and last year, that's what the volume leading up to his injury showed, was that there was too much reliance on him to be the guy and the only guy,
Yeah, maybe. I like Shelstad to bounce back a bit on his shooting in this system, and I think you're silly if you think that that Woolley's not gonna improve as a 3-point shooter next year. So, you're not gonna have a 50% knockdown guy like Momcilovic, but you've got those two guys are gonna start, Shelstad and Woolley, and you better believe like they're gonna shoot the three. I know everybody's like thinking that we're gonna go through some sort of just like drastic transformation and how PK is gonna do everything. Like they're gonna shoot threes, and
Yeah.
Shelstad and Woolley are probably gonna be the ones that shoot them the most. Fulgeras is gonna shoot. I say that Knox, dude. Knox is another guy that was in the high 30s in his 3-point shooting. So he was like a 38, 39%. That's really good. I mean, that's better than I think Woolley probably was last year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I was going to say I have the numbers here in my handy spreadsheet. So let's talk career 3-point numbers, right? I think it kind of tells a solid story because there's lots of waxing and waning, and I'll go over that here in a second as well. But as far as career 3-point shooting goes, Jackson Shelstad 35.2%, Adrian Woolley 39.3%. I believe it's Carter Knox. Hold on, sorry, I got to scroll all the way down here. Deshane Montgomery 34.7, Carter Knox 36.1.
Yeah.
And Alvaro Fulgeras was
Yep.
right at 35.2.
Yeah.
Now, none of those are bad shooting percentages, right? Like,
And some of them have had significant shifts over the last 2
Right.
years, right? Like we know Woolley was north of 40% before he came to Louisville. Ran into the ACC, had an uphill battle as a sophomore, had to take up a lot of minutes for Michael at the 1. I want to say Fulgeras had some pretty good numbers before he went to Iowa last year, like north of 40%.
yeah. So obviously the step up in competition's never gonna, help a ton. But I wanted to kind of see what that looked like from the perspective of some of the top shooters from 2 seasons ago going into last season, right? Just kind of give you a perspective on number one, what the talent pool was like and what the expectation potentially should be for somebody either making a jump up, laterally, whatever that might be, right? So Tyler Lundblade was the top 3-point shooter 2 years ago. He chose to stay at Belmont. So I thought that was an interesting decision. Alex Shaken from Lafayette. He went to UC San Diego. You had Marco Maletic, and again, these are only qualifying 3-point shooters. This isn't like Gorgie Zhang taking 1-3 all year and making it type of thing, right? Like these are high volume shooters. Marco Maletic, Western Illinois, graduated. Carmelo Pacheco from Mount St. Mary's went to UCF. But the real kicker here, right, is just the numbers and how they can wax and wane from year to year, right? So, like you look at the guy from Mount St. Mary's that went to UCF, he went from 46% to 39%. You had Lamar Wilkerson from Sam Houston State, 44.5% down to 37.8%, right? So,
Right.
just kind of giving you some perspective. Lamar Wilkerson, a big name in the last cycle, came in and was obvious. I mean, he was an all-conference type of player, and he's going to be fantastic for them. Is he coming back this year? He
I
didn't.
don't think so. I think he was. I could be wrong, but I thought he was
Maybe I misheard. I swear I thought somebody had said that Indiana had. Maybe it was a different player, but regardless, either way, was a big name coming out and kind of stayed the course at Indiana, but ended up having a 4 percentage points worse 3-point shooting season than Isaac McNeely, right? So I think the point is that Louisville didn't recruit anybody that's scorching from 3, right? But you saw how things can kind of regress from year to year when you saw, Rain Smith and Isaac McNeely come over and take, slight dips in 3-point percentage. So
McNeely's a great example of that, Press. I mean,
Yeah.
the context of his play from what he did at Virginia to what he did at Louisville is really interesting, and honestly, it's kind of surprising. I mean, Isaac McNeely was one of the top contested shooting guards, like in terms of hitting contested shots in the country coming into Louisville. And last year, really struggled both as an open shooter and as a covered shooter. Just wasn't the same, and a lot of that had to deal with what Pat and company were asking him to do versus what he did at Virginia. And you're right, like collectively, when you look at a player like Jackson Shelstad is a great example of this. A guy that's played in college basketball now for what, 3 years, 4 years, and each year you see improvement up until the year where there's injury, and then you look at the numbers from his injury season, and you see, okay, his attempts went up per game, his shooting percentage dipped, his trips to the free throw line increased, and you start to glean, okay, this year, this is the type of season where Oregon just needs him to walk in and put his B's on the table. Like they need him to be the guy, and they need him to give them everything he has to get whatever the number of wins is. And when he goes down, you saw Oregon was one of the worst teams in the Big Ten. So I think when you look at Jackson Shelstad, to Ryan's point, yes, I think he can come in here and he can be what he was as a sophomore at Oregon, which was a top 2 or 3 player on his team, a top scorer, a playmaker. And I think that you will get that from him. And I don't have it pulled up in front of me, Press, but I did remember earlier noting that the way that Pat Kelsey talks about Jackson Shelstad is the same way he's talked about the 2-point guards prior to him, and Michael Brown, and in Chucky Hepburn. And I think that the way that Pat looks at point guards is he is looking for a killer, a guy who just is a absolute dog, but also has the smarts and isn't like and I'm not throwing him under the bus, but is not like a Tyler Johnson who just goes and doesn't know anything other than just go, like golden retriever go, right? But Jackson Shelstad is a very smart, cerebral player who can score, shoot, pass, and I think when you combine him with Adrian Woolley and Carter Knox and Alvaro Fulgeras and Deshane Montgomery and, even down to a London Johnson, Isaac Ellis, and Boyan Zhang, I think that that's enough guys who as a unit can collectively be a good shooting group without having somebody that's a 45% 3-point shooter. And that's okay. You don't have to have that, I mean, it's great to have. Certainly would love to have him or a Deshaun Good, who was a 50% 3-point shooter, some shit like that. So, but I don't think it's make or break. And for Louisville, I mean, we talked about this, and it's not to be, hyperbolic by any means, but Milan, it was a nice to have, like we talked about before for weeks when he was in the draft process conversation was not, will Louisville land him? It was, does Louisville even need to pursue him at this point? So I don't want to go back and act as if all of the eggs were in that basket, because they certainly were not. It was like Juke Harris. It was like John Blackwell. It was, the players that Louisville went all in on. Sure, they missed, but it didn't make this offseason awful like it did for UK when they couldn't land any of the players that they missed on up until the end. Louisville still landed a hell of a recruiting portal class. What, top in the country? I mean, okay, imagine if you just land one or two of one of those other guys. You get a Blackwell, you get a Juke Harris, a Milan. I mean, it's a completely different conversation. But regardless, Louisville's still the top portal class, one of. And I think that that's the difference in all of this, is that this was not a need to have. It was a must, or it was a nice to have. And, I think it's not coping. It feels like it when I say it out loud, but
yeah, you're kind of coming across as like a youth pastor trying to tell me.
Like drugs are cool, and you do see sometimes that people look cool doing them, and I can't deny that they look cool. But look, it's better on this side.
Yeah.
It's better to not do them. It's cooler, man. You're right. There is an
life
extent
in
of
heaven
that,
with your grandma and grandpa and your little dog Susan that died when you were 3.
But your weed smoking uncle, he's feeling the flames. If you're catching my drift. Yeah, right. So, I'm not I would have loved to have had him, but I think my takes were on the record of I just didn't think he was the best roster fit. I think they were better off pursuing this group collectively than. Yeah, this is a great comment. I'm sorry, I get distracted by the comments. That's why we need a producer.
We didn't want him anyway.
This is how I feel on every miss. We didn't want him anyways. Fuck him. That's what it is. But no, not to be contrary.
But if you go back, like we have been on this pod. And we said basically. Yeah, I mean, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, we were saying, okay, if you can get him, yeah, we'll take him. Like that's been the overwhelming consensus from Louisville fans for the last 2 or 3 weeks, and it's just like we're getting bombarded with PK whiff and all that. I mean, these guys are these guys are just they're insane. I mean, and I gotta say one thing, Prez, because you were listing a few names of guys, and I'm really self-conscious about how I sound right now because
you need some
Sean was like, you need to get some whiskey. You were listening off those names, and like literally, I think Lamar Wilkerson was the only one that I recognized, and maybe that's just because it was like, of Indiana, and so it's like, all right,
we were in on him last cycle, yeah,
and it's like, okay, so the top shooters are, not really that well known, and probably not getting $6 to $6.5 million if that's really what he got. So to me, it's just like. It's not even really about was he worth what he got, but more like what is the next reasonably sized lights out shooter going to cost in the portal? You know what I mean? Like how much is this?
He just set the market for the next 5 years.
Yeah, it's the Deshaun Watson contract for quarterbacks. I mean, it really is. Like the bar is so unbelievably high that it's like. Next year, let's just say Deshaun Good at Miami shoots 40% or 45% and averages a double-double. I mean, he might make $12 million. I mean, it might just – there is no cap to it at this point. It is stupid. But at the same time, when you say something like, is he worth it? The way that I see it is that what the market dictated he's worth? Well, somebody's willing to pay it, so that's what he's worth. And now, is it buyer's remorse for UK? We'll see. Because, again, this is not a Kentucky podcast. We're here to break down Louisville's roster. And yes, to your comment, he did commit to UK, so it's over and there's no reason to continue to discuss it, but we're a podcast and that's what we do. So we're going to continue to discuss it. So when I look at Kentucky's roster and I look at the big wins of the offseason are Zoom Diallo from Washington, Alex Wilkins, and Milan Momcilovic versus Flory Bidunga. And I will continue to call him that now, Lily, and we are on the same team. We got this. Let's hold strong. Bidunga.
It's so wrong that it sounds like
I don't know, man. There's something about Bidunga Shabang when he dunks that just gets me hyped. I don't know. It just sounds better than Bidunga. But anyways,
who has ever said Bidunga Shebang? Was that a Mike Green?
Shebang is a great dunk phrase. It's just boom shakalaka, shebang. Those are just. That's what people say, Press. You're not a ball knower?
Ricky Martin song?
What? You didn't play? Yeah, right. Shebang! Shebangs! Ooh! Yeah, no. But
that was a really damn good Ricky Martin. Like, I'm not even kidding. That was a great Ricky Martin.
Was that good? That's about
pretty good.
As much as Ricky Martin and I have in common. Well, besides the tightness of our pants, I would say that's pretty common. But UK's roster is just, it's not great. It's not filled with the pieces that you need in terms of winning a championship. It's, the high school recruiting is not there. And so, again, when you look at what they were willing to do, they'll go all in and they will slide their chips across the table to whatever it takes. And I just don't think Louisville was willing to do that. You saw some talk about Louisville upping their offer a couple of times to match UK. And I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not in these negotiations. But it kind of all felt like UK was willing to throw out every possible card to get this kid on their roster, and you see why when you look at their roster where it was prior to today. And we'll see when they play December 12th. We know that date now, but I feel confident that Louisville is the much better team, and I guess we'll see.
We will. It's like Ryan shaping up to be a little bit of a classic if we get if we get our first dub since 08.
Well, and it'd be a real
in Rupp.
We
That
should.
would be
It'd be a real
nice.
plot twist to get 2 in a row. I mean, when was the last time UofL got 2 in a row against UK in basketball? I mean, it's been a minute. It's been a
Our
Billy
really,
flies would be
Gillespie era.
flowing.
yeah. So yeah. I mean, that Pat would be my new bestie at that point. If they, we get 2 in a row against UK, we might get two tattoos for Pat at that point. But no, we could beat a horse until it's dead and talk about how this is a whiff and a miss, and those things are true, man. But it doesn't take away from the fact that this is a top 15 roster. I guess we'll see for Louisville where it shakes out when things get going. But I feel really good that this is a team that is going to make noise in the ACC, that will play a different style of ball than what they've played. They may still have a question mark with their leading scorer, who's the shooter, who's the knock-dead go-to guy. But I think that the pieces are there to build a collective unit. What's up, dog? What's
You better get
up?
that anti-dog guy out of the chat.
Sorry,
There's always that anti-dog guy that has to come in. Maybe he was just doggist against Jay Cook's dog. I don't know, but we'll find out.
we talked
We have
about
an
that.
anti-dog guy in the chat.
There probably
Yeah, he
is.
kept talking about, well, put your dog away, man. Like, who do you think we are? You think we're getting paid for this? You think we're getting paid for this? Go ahead, drop in the comments. You think we're getting compensated by some network? We like dogs.
We just needed a little tune in from Milan. I think she just wanted to get some attention briefly, but
Yeah.
no, I think like just to sum up some of the just the Milan talk. Like I mean, obviously, like I said, I think everybody wanted him. I think we have to give a little bit of kudos to PK for just clearly like having some discipline about how he was going to go about it. I mean, it's so clear just from the rumblings and everything that everyone said that we had a number and we were not going to go above that. And Louisville fans probably got a little bit ahead of themselves on like, I guess it was like Sunday night. We started hearing some murmurs and things like that. But like, how couldn't we have, when everything we were told was that this recruitment was going to be wrapped up over the weekend, right? And then it's Sunday night, and I mean, the guy was clearly thinking about it. We'll find out. I mean,
Right.
there
had to have been something there because let's just say, based off of we don't know anything because it's not as if these play out in public. But let's just say the offers were what they were from the start and nothing changed, right? It appears that UK had the higher offer from the beginning. So to press this point,
and both fan bases agree with that, which is really
correct.
That's
right.
hard to find anything that we agree about.
Right. That's exactly right. And so for Milan, he had to decide what is it that I am going to make my priority. Am I going to be prioritizing championships and potential runs into March and sacrifice being the guy, maybe having to take a step back in opportunity for the sake of the team? Or do I go collect my $6 million check or whatever it is? My rule of thumb is what the number is publicly, take like 25% off of that, and that's probably closer to where the truth lies. So let's just say 6 million is the number. Take your 6 million, go to a top 25 team, be the guy on the team. If the season fails, look at what Jaden Quaintance just did. It didn't impact his, I mean, he impacted draft stock a little bit. But Milan was not a first-round top 5 pick like Jaden was. He was going to be a fringe first to second rounder. I don't think that's going to change. So for him, let me get my $6 million, make as much as I can, and then go right back into the draft next year. Those were the options, and what he chose was the money. And I think it did show that he went down considering, and maybe there was other teams. Maybe the Arizona was a real thing, or maybe somebody else got in late. But it did seem that he really was considering less money, better opportunity, more money. More problems doesn't seem right.
I mean,
but let's just
either way, like
let's just say that.
Either way, if I'm Kentucky and I'm the big bro and I'm the more storied tradition, this was way too close for comfort. I mean, that's just the way I'm looking at it. And the margin between us in terms of recruiting is closer than it's ever been, in my opinion.
Well, yeah. I mean, look at their high school recruiting class this year. Their top recruit is the son of an assistant that they hired. Now, don't get me wrong, Mo Williams is an NBA champion, was a head coach at several HBCUs, and did a great job as a coach. Brings in a 4-star, top 65 player in his son, who will probably be a 3-year, 4-year player there. They bring in an international big, and then they bring in essentially a walk-on, not ranked player who is the brother of another player on the team. So the high school recruiting brought them nothing, where traditionally that's what they have relied upon. I mean, now I know last year they went into the portal and went nuts with Quaintance and some of the other players, but UK historically, when they've been great under Calipari, was all about the freshmen. And when they won championships is because they had experience. And so for this to flip, and now Kentucky is mostly made up of redshirt seniors, guys that have played at mid-major schools, it's a completely different makeup for them than they've ever been used to. And you see that just, I mean, like, you know, UK fans treat UK as their princess, and you see it's like that their princess was kidnapped up until the point of Milan committing there. So yeah, right, exactly, exactly. And I mean,
we just saw Mario on Sunday.
Have you ever seen a coach look less cool having a big moment than Mark Pope? Like, even
holding
like,
the cards, and sitting in like his little beach chair. Like, where do we think he was? Did that look like the golf to you? I was thinking probably.
I bet it was Jamaica, and he was unable to get anybody to go with him, and he probably took a female coworker, you know, like a friend, and he's gonna come back and be like, you know, tan everywhere, Jan everywhere, you know, it's just it was not. It did not look cool, you know.
He's gonna come back and be like, new Mark Pope. It's like he's gone through a transformation on his little vacation. It's gonna be like Gen 5 Mark Pope or something.
Yeah, he was in Fort Worth, Texas. That's where he was. Somewhere just completely uncool and probably like, you know.
Whatever. We're talking about that.
Where's the ocean in Fort Worth, Texas?
There's not one. That's exactly my point. It's like some like lake or some river or something that he's like, hey, you know, let's take a picture. Let's talk about Louisville's roster, because they announced the majority of their roster today on Twitter. I like the cards, like the basketball card vibe. That's the route they went. I really appreciated the creative genius behind that. I'm a big sports card guy.
Do we think that was like a...
I don't know. Oh, was it a little
back
big?
A rebuttal to the...
Yeah, no, I don't know. Probably not.
He said PK's talked about bubblegum cards for 50 years.
Right, exactly.
That's his thing, right?
Yeah.
You know, I'm not really a back of the bubblegum gum card guy, you know?
Yeah, that was great.
All right.
Yeah, you did the bubblegum card. That's what you said. Yeah, we all heard it. Sorry. So Flory Bidunga signs with Louisville, and we got quotes from Pat Kelsey on each player, and some of the simplicity behind some of this is great. With Flory, Flory is a game changer.
Can I read him in Pat Kelsey's voice?
Yeah, please. Let's hear it.
Hold on, I gotta find him first. Hold on, just 1 second. 1 second.
Take your time, man.
All right, here you go. Here's Bo Zhang.
Okay.
Bo Zhang is a producer, man. Bo was the second leading scorer in the EYBL Scholastic League this season, playing for a Veritas team that competed against some of the top competition in the country. I kind of turned it back into me, didn't I?
Yeah, that was good, though. I like that. Keep going.
Well, what's interesting to me is Pat Kelsey and Jeff Walls. They kind of have the same inflection in their voice. And I just love that.
A little bit of rasp in both of them.
Yeah, Jeff Walls is more like, you know, he might drink some... Yeah. He might like take a sip of whiskey to help ease his throat.
That's a killer.
Because he's been complaining to the refs. But Pat Kelsey's has a positive tone to it, if you will. Yeah. It sounds like a self-help book. If you wanted someone to narrate a self-help book, you call Pat Kelsey.
That's right.
Yeah.
That kind of turned into Walls again. That's right.
No, I like. Let's keep going though. What do we got with the rest of the roster, Pat?
Yeah. Who do you want to hear about? Was there anybody that?
Let's hear about Jackson Shelstad next. Let's go there. We'll just go in order.
You do Flory?
That's not the order that I'm in.
Okay. Well, I'm just going off their Twitter. So
I'm going off their Twitter.
Oh, okay. Well, then you just read what you have, man. You're the king of the castle here.
I got it. Let me run point with my raspy ass voice.
All right, here you go. Come on, Ryan.
since like yeah, all right. So yeah, Flory Bidunga, game changer, elite ability to change the game on the defensive end with his rim protection and physicality in the paint. While there's no doubt, that he's one of the best lob threats in the country. We believe there's another level to his game offensively that we're ready to unlock when he steps on campus. I'm reading the whole thing because this is something that stuck out to me.
Okay.
When he said, we believe there's another level to his game offensively that we're ready to unlock when he steps on campus. He is a true two-way impactful player that we believe is only scratching the surface of his potential, and we're glad he's chosen to be a Louisville Cardinal. Odds that Flory Bidunga comes out and just starts chucking a bunch of threes next year.
He goes full Montrezl Harrell senior year. I gotta show the NBA that I can shoot threes.
Like, is that what we're getting ourselves into here? Or
No.
I like to think when I was looking at some of his highlights, I am a little impressed with his ability to handle the ball and move around on the perimeter. Center. So, you know, maybe I don't know if he's going to be shooting, but I do think he can get to the rim on his own.
And there's something to be said about if you're playing a 4-out, 1-in system and you have a 5 who can step out to the top of the key and run and initiate offense or make plays, that unlocks guys like Adrian Woolley because of their ability to slash to the basket. So that's a beautiful thing. I think unlocking him as a player, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean like that he's going to add a new skill to his repertoire, something he doesn't have, but instead they might just use something that Kansas didn't use from him. Whether, you know, maybe Kansas never relied on him to be a back-to-the-basket scorer, and they said, hey, just be a rim-running lob threat. Maybe we see that, and that he does have an offensive game and a Stephen Enoch type of over-the-right shoulder type of hook shot or something that you can lean into and go get you a bucket when you need it.
Also, this man is left-handed. He's left-handed, too.
Let's go. Give me all the
Flory is also left-handed. Everyone is left-handed on the whole roster. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, that's a beautiful fun fact about this team. It's a left-handed world, and we're all just living in it. What else? Who we got next?
You're talking about over the shoulder, and I was like, he's gonna be doing it with his left. So you know.
What do you want in your coffee? Is it a little Kareem? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I was, but for
somebody laugh at that. Damn it, that was funny. Somebody laugh at that. That was really funny, Jake.
A little Kareem. Oh, it took me a second.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah, but I don't know. I like that they're. I mean, that had to be part of the pitch, right? We're gonna develop you a little bit. We're gonna get you ready for the NBA, and we know you're not sized properly as a 5 for the NBA right now. So what do we do with that? And
but you got to be able to score. You got to have a little pop out game. You know, you got to be able to, you got to prove the doubters wrong, man. You got to be able to say, Janice, shut the fuck up. You know, I am gonna hit 3-pointers or free throw shots. It is what it is. So, I would love to see him become, more of a back to the basket type of scorer. I think that's the game that I would like to see them unlock if they can unlock anything. We'll see. All right, what else we got? What other cards?
Jackson Shelstad. Who did you mention, Prez? I'm trying to remember.
Oh man, I did. Did I do? What's wrong with that?
Flory. You just did Flory. Yeah.
Okay, he did Flory, and I was doing the more. Yeah. Okay, I read the whole thing. So for Jackson, competitor through and through, plays the point guard position with an incredible pace and energy that we believe will excel within our system. Jackson is a selfless player that allows him to be a primary facilitator on the floor. Simultaneously, he is an elite dynamic scorer that can step up and make shots at the highest level.
He almost underlined that just for you, Ryan. Just like
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of it in his highlight tape. Go ahead, Prez.
No, I mean he's a great step-in shooter. He can create threes for himself late in the shot clock. I would imagine with the way that this offense is set up, you're going to get into a lot of those instances. So I would anticipate him being the guy that's taking the most threes for you. When you look across the roster, Carter Knox, 2.9 threes attempted per game last season. Alvaro Fulgeras, 2.9 threes taken per game last season, right? So you see kind of a trend of these guys will shoot it, but they're going to shoot it like a Javon Hadley would have shot it, right? Selectively. So that'll be interesting to see if that changes this season. But I do think that it starts with Jackson Shelstad's ability to not only create for others, but he's he is a solid shooter from deep. I think last season and in the back half of his sophomore year, his volume increased significantly, and you saw that the variance there when he was taking like 9 threes a game instead of 3. So, but I'm very high on his ability as a shooter, and I don't think there's any doubt that he's going to be your leading scorer next year. I would find it hard to believe that he wouldn't be.
That's a take. I love it.
I think that's a take though, Perez. I mean,
That is.
but I'm not hating on it. I like it.
That's a good early June take right here. I mean, who else is spitting out takes like that in early June?
No, I mean
That's a
I
classic.
said it because I mean it. I mean, Adrian Woolley, I believe, will be improved, right? I think that, you could see Flo improve to like a 14 to 16 point per game type of guy. Who knows? Maybe Fulgeras in this role becomes, if you increase his statistical trends along with his minutes, he could easily become a leading rebounder, or maybe a top 3-point getter, right? But I think if you were setting the odds, Jackson Shelstad's the favorite at like minus 200. What do we think? I don't know.
I think
that stands out to me. I think that he's going to be the guy they go to a lot.
I mean, we know how PK likes to go through his point guards,
right?
And it's like Jacob was saying, he's saying a lot of the same stuff about this guy that he said about the last two, and
right,
that's an indication of we know he's just going to flood him with trust and confidence, and
right,
that's his mentality. So
he's wearing number 3. So, I mean, I don't know, man. There's a lot of similarities.
Here's what.
Who's living on a military base right now? What I mean, is that a plane? What is going on?
This mic. I mean, I couldn't even hear that.
It picks up what your neighbors are doing. I mean, that is insane.
Either that or Ryan is like really impressive at ripping ass.
It was just like a really I'm glad you guys are just like calling it out, so like I know what I'm dealing with.
I don't remember what I was talking
No, it's good.
Now.
I'm glad.
It's just me. I'm a squirrel from attention.
I'm having way more fun. No, what were we even?
We're talking about Shelstad shooting and.
Oh yeah. I'm so sorry.
Number 3 and Peyton Siva and then military planes.
He has. I mean, we've talked about this a lot, but he has a lot of similarities to like a Chucky Hepburn. I think that's a good comparison. And another. It doesn't feel like it's a Big Ten guard, but another Big Ten guard kind of. He played. I don't know. He didn't play that much Big Ten basketball, but regardless,
right. No, I mean the style of play. It's a physical. He is quick. He's got a great first step, and I think the one thing that we talked a lot about it when they were recruiting them together, and then they got the commitments together, but we haven't talked about Bidunga and Shelstad and their relationship and what that means for Louisville. I mean, at this point, you need them to truly You need them to be true besties. Like, they need to be at the hip, and you have the chance for an elite pick and roll lob threat combination. And also, if you can get Bidunga to step out and pick and pop, that makes it even better. But Shelstad is going to be at his best with Bidunga at his best. Bidunga at his best. Bidunga. I'm going to get it right. Bidunga at his best.
He doesn't make a cymbal sound. He makes a dooka 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 dooka. Like in School of Rock when he's like, to George of the Jungle.
Right, but you need to when you're running a pick and roll against whatever defense with Bidunga and with Shelstad, you need to make them pay. Like you have to make the defense pay. If they cover up, then the lob is there, and if they back down, that Jackson will knock down mid-range or 3-point shot, and I think that's dangerous. And then also, I mean, when you look at what they have on the wing with Knox and Fulgeras, whoever wants to be our assigned reader, we can play popcorn here, where you pick one person, I pick a person. But I think what Pat says about Carter Knox in particular gets me the most excited of all of the player additions. You want me to read it?
Yes,
go for it.
Okay. Well, I just want to make no military planes are going to land during the middle of me reading.
I'll mute.
Yeah, Carter is as well-rounded of a player as any other player in the portal this cycle. His size as a big physical wing is extremely valuable, but it's his skill set and motor that will allow him to transition seamlessly into our system. He thrives in transition with an ability to attack the rim or knock down shots anywhere on the floor. The versatility and flexibility that he adds to the lineup brings a dimension that has been coveted not only at the collegiate level, but at the NBA level as well. We can't wait to see him or what he does in a Cardinal uniform. I think this is a guy that could potentially be the biggest X factor on this team. A guy that you all talk about, like Deshane Montgomery. I think has been Presley's guy that not enough people are talking about. Ryan, you've talked a lot about Jackson Shelstad. For me, like Carter Knox is the guy that just 2 years ago was a potential one and done player at Arkansas. Now, he certainly has not lived up to what the recruiting rankings said that he was, while other guys like Carter Bryant and guys that were ranked similarly around him were in the NBA now. And yes, he did get recruited over at Arkansas, but that does not take away from the fact that he is an elite two-way player who can score at all three levels, is going to be able to say every night, who is your best player offensively? I'm taking him on, and that is my challenge for the night. I think that he is a great culture fit for Louisville. I think that he's a great fit in terms of a player, a scorer, and if he can play at his best, like if we see the best of Carter Knox that has happened yet in college, I mean, that alone, assuming that everyone else kind of is status quo or is up to what they can be, makes this team a Sweet 16 team because of his ability to guard the perimeter and then his ability to get to the rim and also knock down threes. I think that he is an underrated player on this roster that because of Juke Harris and John Blackwell and all these other names that we've talked about, we've missed on a truly kind of giving Pat Kelsey and staff the flowers for getting an elite. I say elite. I shouldn't, that should be maybe used a little bit more sparingly, but a really good 3-and-D type of player that can really be your anchor defensively to win a lot of basketball games.
Yeah, I mean, you've effectively gone out and replaced what Javon Hadley brought you over the last 2 seasons as far as productivity and kind of being the guy that, number one, consistent productivity, but number two, being the guy that you need when you need it. And what I mean by that is he is whatever you need him to be for that given night. And oftentimes, like you said, Jacob, that's being asked to guard the other team's best player. That's maybe, getting every rebound that's even remotely in your area. Maybe that's about just being a solid ball mover, right? A guy that's just helping you keep the pace on the offense, which is something that he was more than I think people expected last year for Arkansas because the pieces around him ended up being so good.
Yeah.
And
he
I
also
think
dealt with injury, just like Shelstad
Yeah,
did. I mean, the
right,
season was
right.
cut short. We talked a little bit about that, but the narrative around him has been, oh, well, other players played better, or he wasn't, and that's true to some extent, like you're saying. But he also only played in 18 games. So, he didn't get to participate in as deep as Arkansas played in the tournament. It obviously was not available for them, which, say what you will about that, but it is worth noting.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's important to note too with him though, that the reason that you feel comfortable taking him off an injury is the same reason you feel comfortable taking Jackson Shelstad off an injury is because it's not a limited sample size, right? Those are two guys that since day one as a freshman have been starting. And so, yes, maybe you got them at a bit of a discount coming off an injury or, maybe you're taking a bit of a risk, but you're not looking at 2 injuries like a case in prior type of injury, right? Where, Jackson Shelstad, it's likely that he never stopped staying in game condition, right? Maybe not like mid-season playing shape, but I would say that cardio-wise, he's going to be solid, right? You don't lose the ability to practice in a soft cast or something like that in practice. So
he'll be in amazing shape. It'll be, Coach Foy will have them in a good spot and being able to be what he was at, before injury. Moving on to Fulgeras here, Ryan, I'll come to you on this one. I really liked what Pat talks about the combination of skills that he brings. And I think we've talked a lot about what he did in the NCAA tournament. Obviously, the shot against Florida is kind of what he'll be remembered for. But as Pat kind of alluded to, he brings a really unique skill set. He said Alvaro is extremely versatile on the offensive end. And while he's an efficient scorer, it's his playmaking prowess that separates him as one of the elite players in college basketball. Alvaro will allow us to continue to spread the floor while affording us the size and defensive tools necessary for competing at the highest level nationally. The way that I read that is, did you see how Ali Khalifa passed? This dude can do the same thing. Like, this is a fantastic playmaking big who can be what David Padgett was, what Anaz Mahmoud was, what we saw with some of the centers under Pat Kelsey of being able to step out like a Khalifa and make a pass from the top of the key. And I talked about it earlier with Flory. If you can get him playmaking at the top of the key, or if you can get Alvaro playmaking at the top of the key and throwing, passes or outlet passes, bounce passes, and scoring, I mean, that's going to change the way that this team plays. And we saw that last year when Khalifa was able to hit those bounce passes that would lead defenders to the basket. It changed what he brought on the floor. It opened up space for him to shoot more because they started respecting the passing lanes. I think the same thing will be true of Alvaro. And again, another underrated piece that we've talked a lot about, but because we've been so focused on a Momcilovic, on other players, I don't think Alvaro Fulgeras has gotten the attention in terms of what he can be is your likely starting four for this team. Ryan, what do you think? I know you were really high on what he brings to the squad. I mean, do you think that this guy is a difference maker, or is a big for Louisville next to Flory? You got to unmute yourself. There we go. Check clearance for the planes around, all that.
That's right. Yeah, no, I think Alvaro, because it's worth talking about, too, the fact that had we gotten Momcilovic, like, he's probably going to start at the 4, and I think Alvaro will probably have been. You think at the 3, and
I think Carter. Yeah. I think Carter goes to the 2. Alvy goes in at the 4, and you got Mommy at the
Wooly
at
off
the
the
3.
bench.
Okay.
Wooly off the bench.
Interesting. That's not. I saw that the same way as you, right? Like, that's the 4 in my mind. But again, that's not what he was last year. So I guess you're trying to make him as comfortable as possible. The 3 makes sense. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, but just going back and looking at some Fulgeras tape too, like he's almost like a Javon Hadley, in the way that he's like he's that Swiss Army knife guy, right? That PK likes to have, the kind of just gritty, do it all type dude. But the difference is that he's 6'10". You know what I mean? And he played, Iowa, very positionless, interesting style. But he played the 5 there on paper.
Right.
So he's big. The difference with this guy is you're not giving up anything on the defensive end. And that's the case with every single one of these guys that we brought in. You're not giving up anything on the defensive end with the size and athleticism that we've brought in this year. And so I think Fulgeras, he doesn't scream athleticism, but he is big, and he...
Why is that? Because he's a white bone? Is that why?
That's right, yeah.
Why? Okay,
he's
that up.
Yeah, he's really shifty, and no, I don't know, whatever. But no, I think he's gonna play that role perfectly at the 4, and and the other thing I've been intrigued by is watching Flory's does some playmaking too. I noticed like him and Tiller had some good stuff back and forth at Kansas last year. I can't wait to see those two playing together, because I think that they work perfectly. I've already said it in a few pods previously, but get some high-low action going.
Love a good high-low.
The thing about Flory is, like, he's not necessarily... We know he doesn't have the height, but man, his wingspan is nuts. Like, you just kind of get it up there for him, and he jumps through the roof, and he'll get it. So I anticipate some Alvaro Flory playmaking with one
Love that.
another, and yeah.
Yeah,
Little big
yeah.
to big. Yeah, double
So
bigs.
I think there's potential that you have 3 to 4 guys on this team, maybe more, that played out of position at their previous school. And I guess previous school you'd also include Adrian Woolley in that, right? Woolley played a lot at the one on the back half of the season. I don't think you'll see that this year unless there's more injury attrition.
Right.
I think you're going to see strictly Shelstad and Johnson at the one, should everybody stay healthy. So I think Woolley's one of those that he's a true 2 guard. He's a true off-ball guard. I think he'll thrive in that position. And then Alvaro is another guy. He played a lot at the center last year for Iowa, which is why he was coming off the bench. He was effectively a starter for them, right? Where he played starter minutes. He finished most games. You're not out there hitting game-winning shots in the Sweet 16 or whatever it was, round of 32, without kind of being considered it's a guy that's a key cog on the roster. So I heard a local radio pundit today while I was going out to grab lunch, discussing that Louisville has 3 guys that were coming off the bench last year that are going to be starting. This is a terrible team.
Wow.
But I mean, the reality is, Fulgeras is a guy that is legitimately going to be.
They drew up that
impactful.
shot for him. I mean,
Yeah.
like he's the 6'10" guy that knocked out Florida in the tournament. Like,
Yeah.
was the dude that I mean,
Yeah.
he got the ball. So whatever. He came off the bench. I don't really care. I mean,
Yeah,
He was.
it's also that's a sign of a good culture guy too. Anyway, you know what I mean? If he was willing to come off the bench
That's
and then
true.
come in and hit game winners, like cool, I'll take him.
That's
Right.
true. But
we
but
looked
I
at his minutes too. I mean, it was a big difference from the first 15 games to the final
Right.
25 games
Right.
of the season in terms of what Iowa's giving him. So I think for fans that worry about that, just look at the data, check the data, crunch those numbers again,
yeah, I need you to recrunch those.
re-crunch those.
But same way with Adrian Woolley, right? A guy that was coming up a level, took a little while to get his feet wet, but in the back half of the season was really solid. And we can go back. You can roll the tape, check the tape, Jacob. I did in fact say that Adrian Woolley was the most important person to retain.
You did, and that was a good take.
I've given some really tragically bad takes in the past,
You
Jacob.
have. You have.
But so I deserve to be able to pat myself on the back and let you all know that there's a reason why Adrian Woolley is the guy that they chose to retain on this team. He empties the tank, as PK says, and that's exactly the type of guy that you want on the team. But just to kind of complete that thought there on Alvaro, so we can move on to whoever's next or whatever's next or whyever's next.
I'll run quickly through these because I know we're getting late here in the evening, and we want to send people off to watch the Summer House reunion or 2020, whatever it is that they're consuming after us.
What's
New
that
Widow's
mean?
Bay tonight.
Is that a
Widow's
bachelor
Bay?
thing?
Okay.
Yeah,
Summer House
we're-
is like the new it's like Real Housewives or Real World, or it's a reality drama.
It's not the Mormon one, right?
Scandals. No, it comes on after the Mormon one. It's the more
Okay.
X-rated. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know if it does, but it's
This is the
more
Catholic
of a-
one.
It's
Like a Catholic picnic out there. There's beer flowing.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
There's pool tabs.
Just a couple of things. I'm not going to run through all of these, but just some comments that I think that Pat made about some of these players just gives us some insight into what they're going to be this year, why they recruited them. On Obena, Kelsey says on the offensive end, his length, explosiveness, and timing make him a significant threat as both a roller and post-up threat. We talked about that before for Flory, but that also is true when you go to who presumably would be your backup 5, even though a little birdie told me that you could see Obena play the 4 this year a little bit with Flory as well. But he says combine that with his capability as a passer and shooter. and you have a nightly matchup nightmare. I mean, anytime you have a 7-footer that can stretch the floor, like that's just a rare thing. And I think that as a would-be senior in high school, anything he gives you this year is a benefit to your team. And by the end of the year, I mean, this is a guy that you would like to see looking like a potential first-round pick. He's got to play 2 years of college ball, but his skill set and just what he brings to Louisville, the role he'll play where he's not like Michael, where he's going to be the focal point. He's going to be able to develop and truly step into his role. I think there's just so much potential there for him and what Louisville can develop him into. And I hope that happens quickly because of how things go with the transfer portal and just, we've seen other 2-year players move on. Gabe Dines, Pat just said he's tall. I thought that was a really, no, I'm just kidding. He did not
We
say
thought that was an interesting breakdown, Pat.
Yeah, he said he's really tall, and that's why we liked him. But Gabe has a unique combination of size, basketball IQ, and mobility. Combination of intelligence and length makes him a great defender around the rim and a major asset to our team. I read that as he's a gym rat. He is the coach on the floor.
Dude.
Like, that's Pat's way of just saying, like, yeah, he's tall, and he ain't going to do much, but just be out there and block some shots. Like, that's what you're going to get from Gabe.
The Dines and Ellis breakdowns read exactly like one corny white dude talking about 2 other corny white dudes.
Yeah, like yes. And then to Isaac Ellis, he will be an outstanding addition to our culture, and his competitiveness will drive results every day that he's on campus. That's the whitest thing.
I want to run it back to when we were talking about Ellis committing, because I think I said I was like I think PK sees a little bit of himself in this guy.
Yeah.
And does this not just reek of like a little PK? Like he's like,
the whole thing is readable. Like it's good. We'll read this one. Right?
Isaac grew up breaking down the pick and roll at the breakfast table and comes from a family of extremely high IQ basketball minds.
Never mind. That is the whitest thing I've ever heard about somebody. He broke down pick and rolls at the breakfast table. He's the whitest thing I've ever heard described about a white basketball player.
He's a back at the bubblegum card guy if I've ever seen.
Bingo.
One.
Yeah. I'm starting to lean into some of the PK stuff, man. I'm loving it at this point because like we're starting to be able to predict it. Like we're starting to be able to see it coming. Like that was when you knew we were really like
stinking tough, man. Yeah, no, I think that you see, like I said, some of the comments about these guys give you just a little bit of just an insight. And shout out to William Steinasty on Twitter at BBN9_. Every comment, every single one of these signings, he's just the top comment. OTE bum, transfer portal bum, Dayton bum, reclass bum. I mean, this dude is like in his hoe phase in the comments right here. I mean, this is insane, dude. It's every single one of them, man. He's just all over the place. So yeah, that's really it. Anything else stand out as interesting to you guys on the bubblegum cards?
Well, don't forget about
who we missed. We got Bowie on.
Deshane.
Deshane Montgomery. How could I mean, that's Preston's favorite player in Louisville history.
That's my guy.
I mean, we got. I'm gonna go right to the quote that I had this one pulled up earlier. I mean, this is all you need to know.
Use the word nasty. I love it.
Yeah, give me more word. Rugged competitor. He's an athletic two-way guard that simply finds a way to produce. But this is the kicker here. He said, one of the preeminent steal threats in all of college basketball. The toughness, anticipation, and ferocity he plays with on the defensive end will be a tone setter. Bingo, boom, bam. If there's an accurate statement written about any of these players on the back of these cards, that's the most true. This dude's skill set will translate from. He doesn't have to come in here and be a 20-point per game scorer, a 15-point per game scorer. He's going to come in here and he's going to get 3 steals a game. He's going to get the team in transition 3 times. He's going to deflect 5 balls out of bounds. He's going to make you dribble off of your foot. Like, at the end of each game that he plays, you're going to look at him and say, okay, out of 9 possessions, 15 possessions, he absolutely dominated his opponent on 12 of them. And that parlayed Louisville into 6 points, 3, whatever it is. And like that will be a consistent thing where we get on here. And even in losses, like I can just hear Presley now. We're going to come in here. It's going to be like a loss to like Miami on like a 9:00 game on a Thursday night. And we're going to come in here and I'm going to be pissed off. And I'm going to say the sky is falling because Louisville didn't do X, Y, and Z. And Presley's going to be like, hey, Deshaun Montgomery though had those 4 steals. That's one game. That's going to come back the next game, and Louisville's going to win. We're going to be fine. Like I can just see it now. It's where we come in here after a loss, and press only cares about the fact that Deshaun Montgomery had 4 steals in the game and was dominant the whole floor. I can just see it now.
Probably 4 steals, a chase down block, a windmill dunk, and a behind the back pass. Probably a technical. That's my kind of player right there.
Yeah, right, exactly. Like Presley, he does a little bit of everything.
I was breaking down the highlights again last night, and like this dude is a highlight reel. I mean, Flory is like every other clip. He's just cramming. It's like it really is. Like if you haven't gone back and watched some of his stuff, like it's just purely entertaining. But like Deshaun Montgomery's probably like runner up in terms of just like highlight reel stuff, and it's because he's getting out in transition and just dunking it, and it's fun. Like he's gonna be. Yeah, he's gonna be getting out in transition and leaving them in the dust. You know,
do we know if they're bringing a Louisville Live back this year? I mean, if there was ever a reason to bring back the dunk contest, even if it's just everybody goes and watches Deshaun Montgomery dunk by himself.
I think they stopped it because it's too hard for the radio.
Yeah, that's true. It was they didn't even stream it last year.
Wait, they put Louisville Live on the radio?
The first year they did it on like ESPN with like Paul Rogers, and then I think they did try one year for the radio. And I want to say somebody said it was too hard for the radio. Like,
I'm trying to picture Paul Rogers being like, "And we're here live at the Wendy's drive-through." Like wherever
it definitely would be too hard for the radio this year if we had.
Yeah.
You know,
ladies and gentlemen, folks around the world, we are here at the Arby's right off Louisville's campus, the 4th closest Arby's to a stadium in the country, where Art Carmody decided to commit to these Louisville Cardinals. And today, Deshaun Montgomery will be going against Flory Bidunga to see who the best dunker is. And here comes Montgomery now. Montgomery dribbles into the lane. He jumps. Oh, he crams it. Oh, goodness gracious. What a dunk there from Montgomery. What were they doing?
I don't know what just happened.
Did you fall asleep
wonderful. There? No, I was just enjoying that. Like there for a second, I thought Paul Rogers was serenading my ears. I thought next you were going to send it out to Jody, and Jody was going to be like, "All right, coach, you had guys out there dunking." No question, just that's it.
I prefer Kevin Harlan. Yeah. Brought to you by Gillette Razors for Men. Kevin Harlan here, folks. Here we are at the Louisville Live Dunk Competition. Brought to you by Barbasol. Barbasol. Squirrels. What's going on? We're an hour and 22 minutes in. He's through the 40. He's through the 30.
I told Jacob, I was like, this is gonna be interesting when it's like us three. Like we don't have Alan to come in and keep us in like we Alan does normally kind of keeps us on track, you know. But the three of us, like we're just such firm friends, you know.
Yeah, he's too busy freaking out with his kids playing basketball. They're out there. They ran to Atlanta for an AAU tournament this weekend or something like that. I mean,
Alan didn't make him cry.
Impression. So,
yeah, right. I know the Harlan. Yeah, we'll have to send him that clip, press, because he's going to be like, "Whoa, I didn't realize we had Kevin Harlan on the show." You know, we want to prepare him just in case. So
yeah, he's going to be pissed.
All right, let's go to the comments here, and we'll wrap the show up. Let's see. So talking about Deshaun Montgomery, I was going to say this, and I feel like I've said this 100 times, but yeah, it is T. Will like. You know, T. Will was I don't want to say a once in a generation athlete, but the dude was just like it was just unreal. That the freshman year when he just would only play to get transition breaks and just win, like just absolutely destroy rims.
He has that mind. He has that same mindset.
Yeah, I'm here for it. Let's see. We got a comment here from Steel Bill 6669. He says he can't wait to watch Isaac play. I also cannot wait to watch Isaac play. I think for the three of us, if there was ever a Louisville basketball player that looked and sounded and was shaped like us, it would be Isaac Ellis. So I think for that alone, we can.
He gives us hope. That's right.
He does give us hope. That's exactly right. We need Isaac to come out and be Rain Smith in terms of shooter, and then talk the shit that like Noah Waterman did. A little bit of that. Yes, Presley.
I touched rim once.
You did touch the rim. I've hit a backboard once and maybe touched the bottom of the net.
I don't
never-
know if it was
I
a
hit
standard
backboard.
regulation 10-foot goal, guys, but
Oh, I
I
believe
mean, what's
that,
most
man.
important is were you breaking down pick and roll at the breakfast table? It's not about
Right.
it's not about whether or not you touched rim. It's not about the size of the
It's not
dog in the
it's not the
fight.
size of the dog. It's the dog.
It's
No, it's not the
the
size
size
of
of the
it's
fight
size
in
of
the dog. Yeah,
That's right.
that's right.
That's right.
It's not the
That's
size
exactly
of
right.
the flower, it's the size.
you gotta
of
make
the
them
petal.
know.
Yeah. Well, we're just glad you're not out here wearing cheetah print, man. I mean, we would be in trouble if you were. At least you're a dog. What was the saying from the coach from Coastal Carolina? We don't want no cats. I want to be more like dogs.
I want them to be
That's
like
what we need from you,
dogs.
man. All right, let's see. We missed out on Tunde, not Mom Silly Bitch. That's a good way of saying that. Love that. The Tunde Yesufu
Silly
commitment was just like straight out of nowhere. Like he's returning back to college and he's committed to St. John's. It was just like it was very obvious that if he didn't get a first round promise, was going back to college. Whereas Milan, I genuinely think he was not prepared to go back to college. Based off of the way that everything played out. Maybe I'm wrong on that. We'll see. Milan chose money over wins. That, remains to be seen. I would agree with you on that one.
I mean, if he's got
But
money,
hey,
he's winning.
you never know. I wouldn't go.
What is
burning
Kentucky
bridges.
gonna do?
Don't go
I'm
burning
sorry.
bridges, man. He could transfer next year. You never know. You could find yourself back in the Momcilovic race again in his final
That's
year.
true. What is Kentucky gonna do with that roster in the SEC? I can't wait to. I feel like
That's a good question.
I don't know. Whatever. They're gonna be a mess.
We're one more conversation away from this becoming a Kentucky pod, so we
You're
gotta
right.
be careful here. Final one, Flory is beast mode. That is based off Pat's comments. That's true. Okay, that'll wrap it up for the show here. Any closing thoughts, gentlemen, before we send everyone off to their slumbers?
What did I miss?
If we haven't already.
Anything?
I don't think so. What we talked about Milan. We talked about Pat Kelsey in the announcements. We hit on all the big news. We talked Summer House. We talked I-65 South. I mean, I think we hit on all the major talking points. I'm spent, man. That was a lot. That was a busy show.
Yeah. It kind of feels like we've been sitting in 65 South traffic.
Right.
Almost like
If we go any
Suck or
longer,
something.
my kids are gonna be upset. I'm gonna make them cry. So we got to get out of here. Wrap the show up. So I'm Jacob Lane. This is Presley Meyer. This is Presley Meyer. That is Ryan Keeling, aka Keeling in Tweets. This is State of Louisville Live. You can follow us on Twitter at the State of Lou, on Instagram at the State of Lou, on TikTok, on YouTube, all of those places. Be sure you subscribe, follow, comment, share, like, everything. We appreciate you for doing that. Check out the website at stateoflouisville.com for all of the latest on what's happening across Louisville sports and in the city of Louisville. And stay tuned over the next couple of days. We've got some great shows dropping this week from the Pink Seats podcast. New episode coming with defensive coordinator Mark Ivey. We've got another It's 502 somewhere in the works with Andrew Crum. And, of course, we'll be back to talk more Louisville basketball over the coming weeks, hopefully with some guests as we lead up to TBT and all that is to come with summer basketball. But before we get out of here, on many fronts, Ryan, take care of that throat.
All right.
Do you have
Appreciate
some
that, Sean.
lemons?
Yeah. I
I'm
might.
gonna national treasure this bitch. So take some lemons and put them with some bourbon, and then boil some water, and then pour it over that. And then
I might need
stir it
like a
together.
little. I might need a little Q&A with Sean or something, so I can figure out exactly what the treatment needs to look like.
Yeah, Sean will get you right,
Yeah.
man. That's exactly right. So we will get out of here on that. It's Jacob Lane, Ryan Keeling, Preston Meyer, State of Louisville Live. Until next time, folks, go Cards. We'll get out of here.